Okay, so let's talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It sounds like some pretty big shifts might be on the horizon for season 15.
Yeah, definitely seems that way. Especially, with Garcelle Beauvais reportedly leaving. That already sets a different stage.
And now there's all this speculation swirling about others, like Erika Jayne, maybe Dorit Kemsley, who's staying, who's going.
Well, there's a source, apparently, saying we should absolutely expect changes.
Okay, so they're not messing around.
Seems like it. And they also mentioned some of these changes could be, surprising to fans.
Surprising how? Like someone totally unexpected.
Could be. The report suggests a main cast member is facing being fired.
Wow, okay.
The same source mentioned a friend of the show is likely getting cut, too.
Okay, so someone who pops up but isn't holding a diamond, basically.
Exactly. And on top of that, another current cast member might be downgraded.
Downgraded? You mean like from a main housewife to a friend?
That seems to be the idea, yeah. Move down to friend status.
So we could see firings, cuts, and demotions. Full shakeup.
It sounds like they're really evaluating the whole ensemble, top to bottom. But, it's important to say none of this is final yet.
Right, right. Casting can change right up to the last minute sometimes. It's all kind of fluid.
Definitely. Things are likely still being decided behind the scenes.
But speaking of specific names, Erika Jayne keeps coming up. There was some kind of blind item suggesting she might be the one offered a friend contract. Then there's Dorit.
Right, Dorit Kemsley. She's going through a lot personally with the divorce from PK just announced.
Exactly, after, 10 years? And rumors popped up that maybe she was on the chopping block.
Yeah, I saw some chatter about her Instagram bio changing, but honestly, who knows if the show is ever even in her bio.
Good point. It's easy to read too much into social media stuff sometimes.
But her personal situation, the divorce, that's definitely something the show might factor in one way or another. Big life changes often impact storylines.
True. So beyond Erika and Dorit, what about the others from last season? We haven't heard solid confirmation on Kyle Richards, have we?
Nope, nothing official on Kyle yet. Or Sutton Strack.
And Bazoma St. John, the newcomer last season, also up in the air.
Seems like it. So potentially, quite a few familiar faces might not be returning in the same capacity, or maybe at all.
That would make season 15 feel incredibly different, like almost a reboot in a way.
It could be heading towards a significant evolution, yeah. If you lose several key players, the whole chemistry changes. You have to ask, what's the new direction? What kind of vibe are they going for?
And we still don't even know when they plan to start filming season 15.
Right. The fact there's no production start date announced yet probably just means these casting decisions are still being hammered out. Or maybe they're waiting to reveal the cast lineup.
Adds to the suspense, I guess. Keeps everyone talking.
It certainly does. It's a period of real uncertainty for the show's lineup. Brittany Cartwright was on Watch What Happens Live recently.
Oh, yeah. Andy Cohen show.
Yep. And she was pretty candid about Jax Taylor. Really quite eye-opening stuff.
I heard about that. She doesn't hold back much, does she? Especially now they're separated.
Yeah.
Gives you a real look inside.
Totally. So, first off, the bedroom stuff. She actually ranked Jax's skills.
No way. What did she say?
Well, mostly a 2 or 3. Ouch. But she did say there were occasional 7 or 8 moments. Still kind of rough.
Wow.
And she also talked about his sobriety. Said she wasn't really sure if he's, truly sober.
That's serious.
Yeah, she mentioned his, quote, Jax Taylor personality still being there with a lot of ups and downs. Seems like a real worry for her.
Well, especially with co-parenting Cruz, that's got to be the main thing.
Exactly. She's focused on him.
And sobriety, or the lack of it, would be huge in that situation.
Definitely. And if anyone was hoping they'd get back together, nope. She basically said the relationship is far too damaged.
Sounds pretty final.
Yeah, and she rated his manipulative side a 10 out of 10. So yeah, I think that door's closed.
A 10. Wow.
Interestingly, though, she thinks he was faithful during the marriage.
Really? After everything?
Yeah, but she suspects he cheated before they got married. She brought up faith stowers again.
Ah, okay. So she's drawing a distinction there. Like, trust existed within the marriage, but the stuff before definitely damaged things long term. That makes sense.
And she even mentioned an early red flag she saw way back. How he treated waiters and service staff.
Oh, that's always telling, isn't it?
Totally. It says a lot about someone's character, how they treat people in those positions.
Absolutely. It's often those little things that give you the biggest clues about respect and empathy.
And there is a funny bit, too. She corrected Andy Cohen on an old Vanderpump story.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
The Kristen Doute car hookup story. Apparently, Andy got it wrong. It actually involved Lala Kent and Ariana Maddox, not just Kristen.
Huh. See, those old VPR stories get tangled up over time. So many hookups and dramas. Good on her for setting the record straight. Shows people are still invested in that history.
Yeah. Then, shifting gears to Cruz, their son, she said co-parenting is hard and very up and down.
I bet. That can't be easy.
But she's so proud of his progress, especially with his autism diagnosis. She mentioned getting tons of positive feedback after going public about it.
That's great.
And she wants to be an advocate now.
Good for her. Using that platform for something positive like autism awareness, that's really commendable. It can help so many other families going through the same thing.
Definitely. Oh, and she updated on Julian Sensley, that guy she was seeing briefly.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
They're not talking anymore. Said he was dishonest, but she did say he helped her confidence when she was feeling low. So, kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
Right now, she's single, but she admitted she has a crush.
Intriguing.
And even though she loves Kentucky, she's staying in L.A. for Cruz, for his therapies and his whole support system there. Her dedication is really clear.
Absolutely. Putting his needs first, even if it means staying somewhere she might not prefer long-term, that says everything about her being a mom.
And finally, her prediction for the Valley reunion. She thinks Jax will either be super apologetic or just, completely confrontational.
Knowing Jax, both sound entirely possible, don't they?
Right. Could go either way.
Yeah, it depends on the vibe, who's there, what's being discussed. His reunion performance could really shape how people see him going forward.
Next update we have about Erin Lichy. She's responding to some things Brynn Whitfield said about her real estate career.
The RHONY ladies. What's the drama there? Sounds like some off-screen stuff bubbling up.
Yeah, so Brynn was on the Trading Secrets podcast, right? And she apparently claimed Erin hasn't sold a house in 7 years.
Oof.
And she kind of implied Erin makes less than $156,000 a season on the show. Pretty direct hit at her job and her money.
Yeah, that's hitting below the belt, questioning someone's career and income like that publicly. Especially on reality TV where that stuff gets amplified. You'd expect a reaction.
Oh, Erin definitely reacted. On her own podcast, Come Together, she clapped back hard.
Okay, what did she say?
She mentioned she just closed a $4 million sale but kept it quiet on purpose.
$4 million rebuttal. Counters the hasn't sold in years thing directly. Also shows they maybe have different approaches to publicizing their work.
Exactly. Erin said real estate isn't even her main job right now, and she just doesn't broadcast every deal.
That makes sense. Maybe her focus is elsewhere, or she just doesn't feel the need to publicize everything.
She also sounded pretty skeptical about Brynn claiming she spends $2,000 a week on DoorDash.
Yeah, that $2 cal a week on takeout raised a few eyebrows, didn't it? Whether it's true or just, for attention, it's definitely got people talking.
For sure. And then Erin and her husband Abe backed this up too, pointed out that the RHONY cast apparently has a contract saying they can't discuss salaries.
So if that's true, Brynn talking about Erin's potential salary could be a breach of contract.
Could be.
Okay, moving on from RHON. What else is happening?
Well, we've got Gabby Prescod from Summer House talking about Craig Conover. She had some pretty strong words for him on Page 6 Radio.
The Bravo crossover commentary. What did Gabby say about Craig?
She did not hold back. Called him insufferable with a god complex.
That's harsh. Sounds like a major personality clash, or she just really doesn't rate him.
Yeah, and she labeled him a quintessential Aquarius man.
Oh, the astrology angle.
Yep. Said he was flaky, non-committal, on top of the god complex. Seems she's got him all figured out, astrologically speaking. She also said his taste is questionable. Ouch again.
Double ouch.
And the radio hosts were speculating that maybe Paige DeSorbo's success kind of messed with Craig after their breakup.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, and they mentioned Craig's questionable moves post-breakup, apparently lying about the timeline and suggesting a BravoCon wedding with Paige.
Oh, right. I remember Paige shut that down pretty quickly.
It did. Seems like there's still some unresolved stuff there.
Definitely sounds like it. When you get different stories and public denials, usually means the drama isn't quite over.
Okay, next update we have involves Giudice. She was talking with Dolores Catania on her podcast, Casual Chaos.
Oh, yeah. What about?
About Riley Burruss, Condi's daughter. Apparently, Riley got upset about a comparison Gia made between Real Housewives of New Jersey and Atlanta.
Oh, the franchise wars. People get passionate about their specific housewife show. What did Gia say that set Riley off?
Gia just said she felt RHONJ and RHOA give off the same energy. Seems harmless enough, right? But
Yeah.
Riley was apparently offended.
Interesting reaction. Maybe Riley sees big differences in the casts or the drama or just the overall feel of the shows. Fans definitely have strong opinions on this.
Dolores actually agreed with Gia. She said she didn't see much difference either.
Okay, so Dolores chimed in.
Yeah, and Dolores thought Riley's reaction was maybe a bit much, saying it was not nice. So, Team Gia Dolores on that one.
Dolores has been around the Housewives block a few times. She probably has her own take on how the shows stack up. Calling it not nice suggests she thought Riley was maybe being a bit dismissive.
Gia explained she was just trying to bond with Riley, because their moms are both housewives, trying to find common ground.
That makes total sense. It's a pretty unique situation, having your mom on a show like that. You'd think they could connect over it.
Right. And Dolores gave Gia some advice on, understanding the relationship with Riley after that. Dolores probably knows how to navigate those tricky Bravo world interactions.
For sure. Experience counts. Dolores likely has good insights into how different personalities mix or don't mix in that environment. Good advice for Gia.
Yeah, apparently the online reaction was mixed too. Some people criticizing Dolores, others explaining why they think Jersey and Atlanta are different. Fans are invested.
Oh, yeah. That fan base is passionate. Everyone's got their own take on the shows and the people. These online debates just show how much people care.
Next up, Kristen Doute. She was talking about Janet Caperna from the Valley and also circling back to Jax's sobriety again.
Okay, connecting Vanderpump past with the Valley present. What did Kristen have to say this time?
Well, about Janet, Kristen claimed she was first introduced to their friend group as a fan.
Ooh, really?
And Kristen also talked about Jax's sobriety again. Voiced some doubts about whether he's truly doing the work.
Still skeptical, then?
Yeah, though she did say she hasn't actually seen anything recently to prove he isn't sober. But, past behavior casts a long shadow.
Understandable. Sobriety's the journey, right? And with their history, it's probably hard to fully trust that things have changed for good.
And Nia Sanchez had thoughts, too. She kind of suggested Jax revealing his addiction now was maybe convenient.
Convenient how?
Well, considering Brittany had already talked about his past cocaine use, Nia seemed to think Jax might have been trying to get ahead of the story before the reunion. Hopes he's genuine, but suspicious of the timing.
That's a pretty strategic read on it. The timing of these big personal reveals on reality TV, it can definitely feel calculated sometimes,
True.
Trying to control the narrative. Nia is clearly aware of those games.
Kristen also said she thinks Jax might just trade addictions, unless he does deeper work on himself.
That's a common concern with addiction, isn't it? That unless you address the root cause, you just swap one crutch for another. Sounds like Kristen's worried the underlying issues aren't being dealt with.
Yeah. And she doubled down on Janet being introduced as a fan. Said she's seen a big negative personality shift in Janet over the last couple of years.
A negative shift? How so?
She even compared it to how some other VPR stars acted in the early seasons, kind of implying Janet's maybe become more performative or focused on creating drama for the show.
Uh-huh. Okay. Suggesting maybe it's less genuine now, more about the camera time. That's a pretty sharp observation from Kristen.
Next update we has about Kyle Richards, her reaction to Dorit Kemsley filing for divorce, and also apparently Garcelle Beauvais isn't texting her back.
What's Kyle been saying?
Well, she was at a charity event, the Women's Cancer Research Fund, with Teddi Mellencamp.
Right.
And she said she did text Dorit after the divorce news broke, just expressing sadness about families breaking up, even acknowledging their friendship has been strained.
That was thoughtful. Reaching out during a tough time, even if things aren't great between them, shows some class.
And Kyle also said she felt awful after the last RHOBH season ended.
It was pretty rough for her.
Yeah, but she said Teddy's health scare really put everything into perspective, made her realize some things are just bigger than the show drama.
Absolutely. A health crisis does that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really grounds you and makes you reevaluate what matters.
But on the flip side, she mentioned texting Garcelle after Garcelle announced she was leaving RHOBH and hasn't heard back.
Oh, no response from Garcelle?
Nope. Kyla sounded kind of sad about it, said she felt their friendship was just starting to, blossom. So that's disappointing for her.
Yeah, that can sting. When you feel like you're building something and then silence. Garcelle might just need space. Or maybe she sees the friendship differently. Who knows?
Kyle really talked up her friendship with Teddi, though. Called Teddi the best thing to come out of Housewives for her.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she sounded super grateful for their bond, especially with Teddi getting good news about her health. She told this really sweet story about them crying in Target together. Sounds like they're really close.
That's great. Having that solid, real friendship amidst all the reality TV chaos must be invaluable. And wonderful news about Teddi's health, of course.
Kyle also gave a shout out to Olivia Munn, admiring her strength through her cancer battle, and mentioned having fun at Stagecoach with her daughters. And Paris Hilton, Lizzo, Sydney Sweeney said Paris killed it DJing. Sounds like she's finding some joy. Okay, next update is about Paige DeSorbo. She was explaining why she and Hannah Berner basically never talk about Summer House on their podcast, Giggly Squad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Paige was on Amy Poehler's podcast, Good Hang, and she said when they first started Giggly Squad, Bravo had some restrictions about them discussing Summer House.
Ah.
Yeah, but Paige said they were actually fine with it because they always wanted the podcast to be more about general pop culture anyway, not just the Summer House recap show.
Makes sense. Gives the podcast its own identity. Appeals to a wider audience, maybe. Smart move to differentiate it.
Totally. And she said now the podcast has just kind of evolved its own vibe, and talking about Bravo stuff would feel sort of out of place. It's found its own lane.
Yeah, that happens. Podcasts grow and change based on the hosts and the audience. Sounds like it just developed naturally away from the show.
Paige also shared the one thing she and Hannah consistently argue about. It's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
Hannah apparently insists on always standing on a specific side when they're being photographed or filmed, even at, like, the Vanity Fair Oscar party.
Huh. That's hilarious. Always got to get her good side, even at the Oscars party. That's some next-level media training kicking in. A little glimpse behind the curtain.
Right. And Paige also talked about dealing with fan backlash online. Said she's learning not to try and please everyone.
That's a tough lesson to learn in the public eye.
For sure. She admitted the negative comments are still hard, but she's getting better at not letting it get to her as much.
Good for her for working on that.
All right, let's get into the Valley. Specifically, the latest episode and this whole rumor Jesse's apparently spreading about Michelle. Things are getting nasty.
Yeah, the Valley definitely hasn't been short on drama.
So the episode starts pretty heavy. Jax actually checks himself into a mental health facility.
Whoa, okay, that's serious.
Yeah. And Brittany's like laser focused on protecting Cruz. Michelle even tells her she should file for divorce immediately. Intense start. Then we see Jesse and Kristen getting closer, bonding. They're talking about Michelle threatening custody during that white party fight.
Right, the custody threat.
And Jesse's got this theory now. He thinks Michelle was cheating on him with her new boyfriend, Erin, while they were still together.
Based on what?
Pretty flimsy stuff, honestly. Like finding Erin's brand of honey in their cabinet and Michelle going on glamorous hikes near Erin's house.
Honey and hikes. Sounds like he's maybe reaching a bit there. Trying to find reasons for the split, maybe.
Seems like it. Anyway, Jesse's planning this Santa Barbara trip and wants to invite Michelle and Erin. Weird, right?
Super weird.
And plot twist. Janet invites Kristen to her birthday party after all their drama.
Okay, that is surprising. Peace offering, maybe?
Maybe. We also see Kristen doing fertility acupuncture, Naya's supporting her, and Luke's apparently thinking about proposing to Kristen. Lots happening.
Typical ensemble show, right? Multiple storylines weaving together. The Janet-Kristen invite is definitely one to watch.
But the main bomb. Danny reveals in the guys' group chat that Jesse supposedly told them Michelle slept with a billionaire for $1,500 a night.
Whoa, okay, that's a huge accusation. And specific. Spreading that in a group chat, that's incredibly damaging.
Totally. So Janet's birthday party happens, awkward central. Michelle's there with Erin. Jesse's avoiding her like the plague. Michelle gets a little dig-in about Jesse used to control her makeup choices. Then Brittany tells Nia and Michelle about the billionaire rumor. Michelle is obviously furious. Danny confirms Jesse sent the message.
Oh man, confirmation.
And then Michelle drops her own bomb. Jesse doesn't pay child support.
Wow. Okay, that takes the conflict to a whole different, much more serious level. That's not just gossip, that's about parental responsibility.
Right. So Danny warns Jesse that Luke's about to tell everyone about the rumor. Jesse tries to backtrack, calls it a joke, blames a mole in the chat.
Playing it off as a joke
Yeah.
after saying something like that and blaming a mole.
When Janet asks Jesse what's going on, he immediately blames Luke for starting drama, even though Jesse started it.
Sounds about right. Avoiding accountability. It's a pattern.
So the episode ends with Michelle saying Jesse is definitely staying in a hotel on the Santa Barbara trip. The group is clearly divided now. Kristen and Nia seem to be siding with Jesse on some house stuff, oddly enough.
Interesting division there.
And Michelle calls Jesse worse than Jax, which, you know, is saying something in this group. She's clearly devastated at Janet's party. This rumor blew everything up.
Sounds like the friend group is completely fractured. The fallout from this rumor is huge and really emotional for everyone.
Finally, let's talk Tom Sandoval. He was on the Death, Taxes, and Bananas podcast, calling out Lala Kent and Shiana Shea.
Oh, Sandoval speaking out. What's he saying now? The VPR dynamics are still messy, I take it.
Yeah, he basically accused Lala and Shanna of being two-faced, saying they act all distant from him in public, but are friendly in private.
What examples did he give?
He mentioned Lala's too little too late comment about him on Watch What Happens Live, but then said she privately invited him somewhere right after.
Okay. Mixed signals there, if true.
And he said Shanna claimed they weren't in contact, but he says she texted him about the Masked Singer. So he feels there's a disconnect.
Yeah, you can see why he'd feel that way if that's what's happening. Public persona versus private interactions not matching up. That would feel pretty off.
He literally said he felt used by some cast members, like they're benefiting from his misery.
That's a heavy accusation.
Yeah.
But maybe not entirely surprising in reality TV, right? Drama, even negative stuff, often fuels storylines, feeling like your pain is someone else's gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that feeling cropping up. Raises those authenticity questions again.
He also got a bit nostalgic, remembering the early SUR days before the show blew up.
Ah, the pre-fame era.
Yeah, saying they all saw it as just a temporary gig back then, waiting for their big break, puts the whole journey into perspective.
It really does. How things change, huh? Fame, money, it alters everything, especially relationships formed before all that.
Then he kind of went off on the new VPR cast members.
Oh, really? What do you say about them?
Basically suggested they only got jobs at SUR to get on the show. Called it inorganic.
Oof, keeping the show a bit there.
Maybe. He even suggested the show needs a name change now, and implied Lisa Vanderpump probably doesn't even know the new staff that well because she has so many restaurants. Pretty critical.
Yeah, he's not holding back.
So wrapping all this up, you really see these themes again and again, don't you? Relationships breaking down, people questioning who's being real, just the sheer complexity of living your life so publicly.
Absolutely.
If you want to stay up to date on all the latest reality TV news, make sure you subscribe to Realty TV and definitely hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any updates. Thank you for watching this video. See you tomorrow.